Shot down and he was barely 31. Another woke coward took a life with a gun. He left behind a wife and a daughter and a son. All he did was try to speak for all of us. And I'm so tired of the hatred and the narratives. The patriots ain't dangerous, woke people are the terrorists. They shot and killed a father, sent a message to Americans. They ain't gonna stop until they bury us. Dear Charlie, I don't know if you can see us now, but if heaven has a window, I sure hope you're looking down. Cause we ain't going quiet, we gon' scream your name loud. And you're gone, but I swear to God that we gon' make you proud. We ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie. This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men try to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us when good men die for the things that they say. And I can't just be quiet, so I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day. Killed in cold blood for having a discussion, and liberals are celebrating murder like it's justice. You didn't kill a villain or the evil that it comes with. You killed a father and a husband. And I'm so tired of the left and all the wokery. We can't get along if you just kill us when we don't agree. Sniper rifle fire from a liberal that no one sees. Scared I might be next to die when I'm just buying groceries. Charlie, we'll make sure your children know that defending all our freedom is why you aren't coming home. I hope heaven has a window you can watch your children grow and hear your message echo from below. And we ain't backing off or giving up, I'll preach what you taught me. They may have killed a soldier, but that man had an army. This is far more deep than some political parties. And you can't kill freedom, so this one is for Charlie. This ain't the America that all our parents love, but good men try to keep making it great. Pray that God will take care of us, the system is failing us when good men die for the things that they say. And I can't just be quiet, so I gotta be brave, cause this is America. Lately it's scaring us, but one good man can change it all in a day.
All right, you guys, here it is. The last 2 days have been really, really fucked up. As a number of you on the channel may have seen, I was about 85% of the way through a music video regarding Clown World and MK Ultra and a lot of these shooters. And suddenly I see the headline while I'm looking for video clips to put into it: Charlie Kirk has been shot. And I knew as soon as I saw the video he wasn't going to make it, that he was dead. Watched a lot of videos of a lot of people getting shot. A lot of us have, unfortunately, and there was just no getting through that. Part of me wanted to rage and just put out an instant reaction video, which I think would have just been more unhinged and rageful than anything. So I decided to wait a little bit until the shooter was actually caught, which unfortunately took a while due to varying circumstances. And wake up this morning, the young man, Tyler Robinson, a young man whose mind was just rotted away with anti-fascist ideals, committed this tragedy. And well, I didn't know it was going to be Charlie Kirk. I knew it was going to be somebody. It's one of the reasons I made this channel, is because so many people in my life don't understand where this is all headed. They're tuned out. They got other things in life going on. No one wants to sit here and think about anarchy and war and social politics day in and day out. But the reality is I surrounded myself with many, many unhinged individuals, and I myself became a very, very unhinged individual who very close came to killing somebody myself. Seriously contemplated. somebody who wanted the death of his perceived enemies, who wanted all the Nazis to be slaughtered. You know, kind of guy who back then thought Jordan Peterson was a Nazi, because I never listened to Jordan Peterson before. Because these people don't actually listen. They assume, and then they act. Charlie Kirk was a father to 2 young children, a loving husband, a good Christian man, and a man who fought for the sanctity of U.S. institutions, the preservation of young American minds to do better, be better, you know, to get your shit together and try to contribute something to society, speak out, tell your truth, stand up against the things that you know are wrong. And for that, he was murdered. You know, one view of mine that changed, I think, significantly because of Charlie Kirk, oddly enough, was on abortion. People can have their own views on that. I'm not going to get too deep into it, but he's a man who really believed in the sanctity of human life. Take the fetal abortion aspect out of it. He cared about people. He cared about everybody. And one of the reasons I'm formatting this video the way that I am today is because one person in particular who he cared about him was somebody who helped me start this channel, and that man is Buck Angel. This morning, I sat down and watched his reaction video and his talking about it, and it really hurt my heart. Because one of the reasons I gravitated to Buck Angel, outside of just sensing that this was somebody who would listen to me, give me time, give me space, not even expecting to make a podcast out of this whole thing, you know, I just kind of realized after talking to him that there's just so much more that needed to be said. But this man, who in the same breath as Charlie Kirk, made something of himself, speaking on the truth and trying to help other people. And one of the reasons I wanted to speak to him is because I knew people like him, like Charlie, like Trump, were on the chopping block for this insurrection, because I knew this was going to blow up into a full-blown insurrection. After seeing the reactions to Charlie Kirk, while I'm glad there hasn't been much violence, the rhetoric that's been shared signifies to me that we are on a dangerous trajectory, and we are still sliding very, very fast down that path. You know, I'm a firm believer that a lot of these shooters lately and throughout various points in history have been under the control of MK Ultra mind control programs. I'm not going to go too deep into that. I will say, though, that Robert Westman of the Minneapolis shooting, you know, as well as Thomas Crooks, both had BlackRock connections, both had shady backgrounds that signify that something larger is at play. And perhaps the same could be said here, as there seem to have been a lot of what could be perceived to be as patsies in the crowd. You know, people who, one person went up to the police and started reading their Miranda rights to the police officer to try and fool him that he was the shooter, somebody who had been there organizing various events, you know, took his hat off after he got shot and said, "I do it again, I do it again." People screaming, "Kill Charlie Kirk," people cheering. If it wasn't a psyop, then what that signifies to me is something almost scarier. That people were so elated and happy with what happened and think that it's such a good thing that in that moment they had an instinct to protect this individual who committed this atrocity, to protect this terrorist. And to that, I'd say we all just live in the Middle East now, because this is no different than the behavior over there. I'm sending this to you, Buck, because I have a favor that I want to ask you. I'm offering you and your friends and your family condolences through this hard time. I pray that you're all staying safe and staying sane, and I don't want this to be perceived as me using Charlie Kirk's death as some sort of attention-seeking method to you. I really don't want it to come off that way. But I want to ask you to share my channel with the people in your sphere and to take a look at it for yourself if you haven't. You know, when we talked in the beginning, I was very excited, like, oh, these are some of the eugenics connections behind Antifa. This is what we're defending. This is what I know about Margaret Sanger. I was kind of all over the place and really didn't have that much of a sense of direction. And I want to thank you for giving me that sense of direction, because working from that podcast up to speak with other people and to do more solo discussions and to do music videos that were more psychologically based in understanding my own mind, because of the gift that you gave me of speaking my truth, I've gotten to grow from that. I've gotten to learn who I am, who I was, and who I want to be, which is something that I did not have prior to speaking to you. So I want to thank you for that. But the course of this channel, it's gotten deeper and darker and wackier and more twisted. And that's because that's the type of individual I was. That was the type of people that I hung around. The more I told these stories, the more I dove into my psyche, you know, trying to understand, why would I want to kill somebody? Why did I hate these people so much? Why did I push my family away like this? Why did I hang out with these types of people? The more I found my answers, and, you know, solo investigations that have led me to truths like the things we did in the riots contributed to human trafficking operations, drug trafficking operations, weapons trade, things that we didn't know were happening in the shadows while we were causing distractions. You know, when I started doing this, you were my hero. And I wanted to be like you. And the same way that you found these detransitioners and these parents of detransitioners and these different victims of this gender ideology madness, and you collected them all together and gave a place for a guy like me to just go video after video after video after video and learn the lessons that I needed to learn and what I was actually protecting with my rhetoric. I wanted to be that for Antifa. I wanted to find other people who were involved in it. I wanted them to speak their truth. And I wanted to have a collection of people that I could show the public, see, here, I'm not crazy. And what I've learned, unfortunately, is that is not as easy as I thought. The people that I had talked to behind the scenes through email, they're too scared to speak out. And I think realistically, a lot of other people aren't speaking out because they're ashamed of what they did. But the only reason I feel like there was able to be such a push on holding these doctors and these gender ideologues accountable was because there was so many voices speaking out. And I'm worried that this will continue to get worse. And one of the contributions towards that is that people aren't telling people what really happened in 2020. They're trying to hide it. They're trying to ignore it. They're trying to move on from it. They don't want to think about it. But a man is dead for that level of ignorance. A damn good man. Because people wanted to click the brains off. And unfortunately, a lot of people who wanted to click the brains off were people like me who didn't want to come out and confess that they had murderous impulses built up inside their hearts and they were this close to acting on, but then just didn't. A very similar story can be shared by my friend here on the channel, Larry, a former Freemason, a more underworld type of guy who had a lot of crazy stories to share. And who, by the end of it, as I've shared publicly, was threatening to slaughter the same police station that I protested for all those years. You know, the one Antifa guy I met in person wanted to murder Antifa members, wanted to put together an anti-Antifa coalition, wanted me to join that, and almost murdered an active member with his bare hands in my time of knowing him, getting a phone call, hey, I think I killed somebody. And now people in your sphere are having to live in complete fear that a sniper is going to be in the roof or somebody's going to pop out of the crowd with a handgun, or that, you know, a lot of fans of y'all's, in the meantime, people that are just trying to hear your voices are going to get hurt in the process, just like at the Trump shooting. Someone got shot. What we are seeing is the beginning stages of an insurrection that, if it is not stopped in its tracks as soon as possible, and it's not spoken of on people who helped to begin it, such as myself, this country will be devoured by war, which at this point I think is unavoidable. but I like to try to hang on to the little bit of hope that we can pull back. But it's going to take a long, hard series of confessionals from people who went out and did terrible things and struck fear into the heart of the American public, who made friends with people like Tyler Robinson and encouraged him to do those types of things. If I were to have gone and killed one of my political enemies in 2020, I wouldn't have lost a single friend. They'd have been there waiting for me on the other side X amount of years later. That's a problem. And I think the bullets from the casings of the shooter's rifle really detail how you and I, Buck, have a very similar fight that we're trying to bring attention to. You know, the bullet casings. I'll read them out here. Notice bulges. Ooh, what's this? That being a transgender meme of, I think, essentially mocking conservatives who notice that a character is trans in a video game. Hey, fascist, catch. Anti-fascist ideology. Bella Ciao, revolution. And then, of course, he's a video game nerd who carved a cheat code into one of his bullets because this kid didn't live in reality. He lived in video games and television and online. Over the past 2 years, we've seen a lot of these Antifa and Trantifa members go on to start cults, start gangs, commit acts of random violence. We see it with the Z trans terror cult, for example, that was operating and slaughtering people. It's really time that people who have a darker story to tell speak up and tell that story. Because people like me started a war with the full intention of starting a war, with the full intention of one day we're going to kill Jordan Peterson. We're going to kill Blair White. We're going to kill Buck Angel. We're going to kill Charlie Kirk. We're going to kill Donald Trump. We're going to kill anybody that we're bred to believe is a Nazi. Buck, you are on the chopping block. Your friends are on the chopping block. These politicians are on the chopping block. And I want to share this video with you, not to scare you, but to tell you to please be safe. To please, if you find it in your heart to share my story, to please do so in the hopes that other people like me will speak out. I am scared for you guys, the people that I look to for truth and for honesty. Because even a little guy like me, everyone of an ideological disagreement, we're all on the chopping block. And the more that people like Charlie Kirk are taken out, the more solidified in their beliefs these people are going to be. It's not going to go the opposite way. People aren't just going to wake up tomorrow and, let's use an example. If Joe Rogan got assassinated tomorrow, do you really think that America's going to go, we went too far this time? This is a vengeful fervor that is built up in people, and it is activating. It's gotten so bad, and I've seen it for myself with my own eyes. I've talked with people behind the scenes who I know a lot of what goes on behind the scenes with these types of things. And there have been instances where the far right and the far left, in moments where the government has abandoned them, have been trying to make peace behind the scenes. And acts like this put those peace talks further and further behind. These are the talks that you don't see on MSNBC. Many extremist groups, militias, gangs out there, they're trying to make peace. And they can't. And the powers that be know this, and they are trying to stall that and make sure that it never happens because we're all busy arguing about gun rights and mental health. People like me are responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk long term. We really are. Buck, if you find it in your heart, please take the time to go through some of these videos. Please share them with people in your sphere. Share them with the podcasters that you know. Share them with anyone who has any inclination to know what's happening with these shooters, with Antifa, with this violence, with what's happening on the streets. I'm begging you to please share this with them. YouTube, I'm scared that people who even want to speak out aren't even able to. I did a Charlie Kirk music video. And if you go to the main YouTube page before you click on my channel and you were just type Triple B Collective, it's acting like it's at 0 views. This morning it was at 70. An hour later, we were dropped back down to 60. My entire channel, I've lost thousands and thousands of views out of the blue. They don't like when I talk about this. And I'm worried that a lot of people maybe tried to talk about this, but just gave up. You know, I ask you to share this and to ask people in your sphere to see if maybe they'll send that invitation themselves to say, hey, we're looking for more people who've been like this, who've gotten this close. Why? Just why? Because even with as much as I've investigated and I've explored within myself, I'm still having trouble with this, especially after the death of Charlie. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not trying to treat this like a therapy session, but I feel so alone in this space. Because so many people, they just want to walk away from evil and pretend like they did no damage. But a guy like, I can't sit here knowing what we did. And worse, knowing that no one wants to speak. And knowing that more people will be put in danger if people don't. This shouldn't have happened. A lot of things shouldn't have happened. Portland shouldn't have burned. You know, we should have never allowed gender identity to take over the schools. We should have never callously mocked the death of our political enemies during COVID. We never should have isolated from our families, from our hearts, from our faith. This has just become a nation of death. And for so long, I felt dead. But because of you giving me the space to speak and to be able to use that initial podcast to send to other people, say, hey, I talked to Buck Angel. Let me talk to you too. You gave me a key to a door that I couldn't open for a very, very long time. And while I probably need therapy after my podcast because it's been pretty fucked up, it's a journey I needed to take. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to grow. So that's all I wanted to say to you. I'm going to shoot you this email right after I'm done filming, and man, God bless you. I'm praying for you and your family. I'm praying for Charlie Kirk's family. Everybody needs to say a prayer right now and to speak their truth. Same as Charlie did. God bless you guys.